The 2018 Volkswagen Golf. As a model that has been around since the mid-1970s, there's a certain standard that we've all come to expect from the Volkswagen Golf. With the current gen model being introduced as early as 2012 at the Paris Motor Show, we've been expecting to see a facelifted model anytime, and sure enough, Volkswagen has made some exciting changes for the 2017 model year. Building on the hatchback's basic but sporty nature, VW has redesigned the front fascia, restyled the headlight lenses, integrated a whole new generation of infotainment systems, introduced some new engine options and announced a new 7-speed dual-clutch transmission that will slowly replace the current 6-cog unit. On top of this, the 2017 model year also brings some new safety features, including traffic jam assist, emergency braking with pedestrian monitoring, and emergency assist. For a car that is so widely loved, VW has sold more than 33 million examples since its introduction in the 1970s. The Golf is definitely a fan favorite, but its appearance in standard or non-GTI form has traditionally been somewhat mundane without a whole lot of character compared to models it competes with like the Ford Focus, Mazda 3, and Fiat 500. But all that changes now that the Golf has all these sporty updates, which should be enough to keep the car fresh until the next-gen model debuts sometime toward the end of the decade. It's pretty clear that we have a lot to talk about, so let's dive on in and see what's up with the 2017 Volkswagen Golf. It's sure to be the sportiest model that you've seen to date. Continue reading to learn more about the Volkswagen Golf. Exterior. The heaviest change to the exterior takes place up front, where the Golf now has a much sportier front fascia. The air dam is now huge compared to before, with the bottom edge of its trim rotating around and doubling back on top of the corner air intakes. Those corner air intakes aren't necessarily larger, but they are elevated compared to the pre-facelift model. That horizontal louver in each corner vent now looks like a separate unit as opposed to looking like a formed part of the fascia itself. The body line just above and to the outside of the corner vent is now more pronounced than ever. The chrome strip in the grille now extends into the headlights via a sporty LED stripe that surrounds the bottom and outer edges of each headlight bulb. On a side note, models that are equipped with adaptive cruise control or front assist now have the radar sensor hidden behind the VW emblem instead of inside the air dam. As you can see, the facelifted model left is much sportier and stylish compared to the pre-facelift model right. In the rear, not much has changed, but all models now come standard with LED taillights. Higher trim models get the advantage of having animated flowing turn indicators that light up in a bright orange. Range-topping models also have individual LEDs for the taillights and brake lights, a small feature that helps to differentiate it from the models that sit below it. Everything else has remained the same through the facelift. However, the horizontal body line on the hatch is now much more pronounced than before, and the reflectors in the corner of the rear fascia have also been slightly reshaped. It's not much, but it's just enough. On a side note, take a look at that front end again. Does the design of the front fascia, specifically the air dam and the trim around the corner air intakes, remind you of Mercedes' design a little bit? It's not identical by any means, but if you look at the 2016 Mercedes-AMG C63 Coupe, the design of the front fascias definitely have their similarities. See for yourself. The competition. As I mentioned before, the Golf hasn't exactly competed well in the looks department with competing models like the Mazda 3 and the Ford Focus, among others. In a world where automotive design has shifted toward a more aggressive style, VW has finally gotten on board with the Golf. As you can see, the stylish and aggressive design of the Mazda 3 top left and the Ford Focus top right are now rivaled with a vengeance by the facelifted VW Gold bottom. Granted, the Mazda 3 was the sportier of the three, but it and the new Golf are now in a dead heat as far as exterior style goes. The Focus isn't quite ready to compete in the looks department, but Ford is updating it for the 2018 model year, so it could very well make a late appearance to the party with more aggressive and sporty cues as well. Then again, if you're someone who likes more traditional and laid-back styling, the current Focus might be the best choice for you considering the overall aggressive nature of the new Golf and the Mazda 3. Interior. Inside the facelifted Golf, there aren't any drastic changes as far as overall design goes, but that doesn't mean that Volkswagen left it untouched. On the contrary, VW says its color and trim division had come up with new decorative trim panels for the dash, doors, and center console. The seats also get new covers. As you can see from the image above, it looks like this model is sporting a carbon fiber-ish panel in the dash and on the door trim. It's a little way to keep things fresh without spending tons of money on a complete redesign. More important than things like seat covers and trim inserts is the updated infotainment systems now available in the Golf. There aren't any drastic changes as far as overall design goes, but that doesn't mean that Volkswagen left it untouched. The existing infotainment systems are gone and replaced by the next generation of MIB infotainment systems. This means larger screens and more features than ever. For instance, the Composition and Discover Media systems now have an 8-inch touchscreen, a 1.5-inch jump in size over the outgoing system. The Discover Pro system now boasts a 9.2-inch display, up from 8 inches on the outgoing unit, and its resolution has increased from 800 by 400 to 1280 by 640. And, believe it or not, gesture control is now available in the Golf, a first for any VW model, but is limited to the Discover Pro system that also offers both touch and voice command operation. The gesture control and new proximity sensors that it relies on aren't only a first for the Golf but a first for any car in the compact segment. On the more basic side of things, the composition color system has been updated to a 6.5-inch screen, up from 5 inches, with a resolution of 800 by 480, up from 400 by 200. The black and white composition touch system has been discontinued. It was apparently just too 1950s. All of the systems feature an all-new look that brings the Golf into the modern age and put it on top of the competition as far as features, design, and functionality go. VW has actually said very little about connectivity options with most of its infotainment systems, but we know that the Discover Pro comes with everything you could ever want. There's a small amplifier with a 4x20 watt output, a DVD drive, 2 USB ports that are Apple compatible, 2 SD card slots, an aux-in socket for those of you who didn't update to the new iPhone 7, and 10 GB SSD storage built right into the system. System utilities include a movie player, jukebox, podcast player, voice control, and navigation. A rear-view reversing camera, while standard on the Mazda 3, is an optional feature for the Golf. Other options include DAB+, 2 extra USB sockets, and 2 mobile phone interfaces. There are 2 option storage compartments available that allow cell phone integration and inductive charging, and media control, a feature that allows you to control the Discover Media and Discover Pro systems from a tablet or a cell phone. On a side note, the Golf now gets Volkswagen CarNet, meaning this is the first time the Golf is being offered with the Security and Service package. This includes things like automatic accident notification, service scheduling, and breakdown calling. Online monitoring of the vehicle's location, doors, and lighting are all up for grabs. A feature parents will like is that the system can be set to automatically notify you if the vehicle is driven above a certain speed or if it has crossed into predefined alert areas. The images above represent the offerings from the Golf, and 2 of its competitors, the Mazda 3 top left and the Ford Focus top right. Obviously, the Golf bottom is sporting the Discover Pro infotainment display with its new design and gesture control, but in comparison to the competition, it is wildly more advanced. The Mazda 3 does have the cool motorized screen that appears to float atop the dash when activated, but it's small and looks like a tablet from 6 years ago when they were bulky but offered a small screen. The performance of the Mazda 3 system isn't bad in all reality, but I guarantee the Discover Pro system seen in the new Golf is probably smoother and more responsive. Plus, it has gesture control. Take that, Mazda and Ford. In all seriousness, though, the Golf definitely has the best infotainment options available. Just look at how bulky and last generation the display is in the Focus. It will be interesting to see how the 3 compete when we see the next-gen models on the showroom floor, but for now, the Golf is winning hands down. It should also be noted that the Golf can be had with that all-digital instrument cluster, a feature not available on the Mazda 3 or Focus, while the Mazda 3 offers an active driving heads-up display which isn't available in the Golf. Considering the fact that the VW Golf is now more modern than the competition we've discussed here, it's almost a dead giveaway that it's the model to go for. But, interior room is important too, so here's a chart comparing the interior dimensions of each model discussed thus far. Drivetrain. Volkswagen is really aiming to please with the facelifted Golf, so you'll be happy to know that things are also changing under the hood as well. With the launch of the 2017 model, a new 1.5-liter TSI Evo gasoline engine will initially be available. It delivers 147 horsepower and 189 pound-feet of torque. It is, as you probably guessed, turbocharged and comes complete with active cylinder management and common rail direct fuel injection. Fuel economy is said to be 4.9 liters per 100 kilometers or 48 mpg when converted. Following the rollout of the 1.5-liter TSI, a BlueMotion 1.5-liter diesel will also be offered with an output of 128 horsepower and 147 pound-feet of torque. VW says it will offer 4.6 liters per 100 kilometers or just a hair over 51 mpg. With the launch of the 2017 model, a new 1.5-liter TSI Evo gasoline engine will initially be available. Oddly enough, the new BlueMotion variant will also make use of a coasting function that shuts down the engine whenever the accelerator is released. This is traditionally found on hybrid vehicles and is included as a standard feature on all models equipped with this engine. According to Volkswagen, this function could increase fuel economy considerably to as much as 1.0 liters per 100 kilometers or 235.21 mpg, depending on driving style. Now that seems like one hell of a reach for an engine that is rated at about 51 mpg, as this number would top anything on the road today and then some, so take that with a grain of salt. It is clearly PR talk, and getting even close to that kind of mileage is highly improbable unless you're coasting downhill constantly. Next in line is the Golf GTI. It doesn't get a new engine of any sort, but VW has tuned it to provide an output increase of 9.8 horsepower, which should put it on par with last year's GTI Performance model. The GTI Performance model now outputs just over 241 horsepower. All models are being offered with a 6-speed dual-clutch transmission, but a new 7-speed DSG unit is said to gradually replace the 6-cog unit over time. Overall performance like acceleration and top speed with the new DSG will likely remain unchanged, but VW has said that it will help cut CO2 output. Expect these new engines to push the Golf to 60 miles per hour in around 9 seconds or so. On a side note, it appears as if the 1.8-liter gasoline engine will carry over from the 2016 model year with 170 horsepower and 180 pound-feet of torque. The 2.0-liter diesel should also carry over, delivering some 150 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. The 1.8-liter garners some 25 mpg in the city and 26 mpg on the highway. The competition. As far as comparing the Golf to the competition, it can certainly hold its own. The Focus is available with a 2.0-liter 3-cylinder, a 2.0-liter 4-banger, or a 2.3-liter EcoBoost that is borrowed from the EcoBoost Mustang exclusively for the RS model. The 1.0-liter is all about economy, giving just 123 horsepower and 125 pound-feet of torque. This engine is only available in the SE hatch, but does offer stop-start technology and offers 30 mpg in the city, 42 mpg on the highway, and 35 mpg combined when equipped with a 6-speed manual or 28, 40, and 32, respectively when equipped with a 6-speed automatic. The 2.0-liter offers up 160 horsepower and 146 pound-feet of torque and garners 26 mpg in the city, 26 mpg on the highway, and 30 mpg combined with a 5-speed manual. With the 6-speed auto, those figures remain unchanged with the exception of highway mpg, which increases to 38 mpg. The 2.3-liter in the RS pushes out 350 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque but sucks as far as economy goes, achieving just 19 mpg in the city, 25 mpg on the highway, and 22 mpg combined. When it comes to the Mazda 3, it offers some stiffer competition in this department. It can be had with a 2.0-liter 4-banger that pumps out 155 horsepower and 150 pound-feet for torque. There's also a 2.5-liter with 4 sleeves that delivers 184 horsepower and 185 pound-feet. Fuel economy isn't the best, but the 2.0-liter does beat out the Focus with 29 mpg in the city, 41 mpg on the highway and 33 mpg combined. The 2.5-liter offers 25, 37, and 29, respectively. The Mazda 3 can be had with a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic with manual shift. Both transmissions offer front-wheel drive only. Mazda has yet to publish performance figures, but it did test a 2017 model with the 2.5-liter and it managed to hit 60 miles per hour in 7.4 seconds and topped out at 132 miles per hour. Pricing. Full pricing details have yet to be released, but VW's USA website does list the Golf S and Golf Wolfsburg editions for the 2017 model year. Of course, they still reflect last year's styling, but that should be updated sometime in the near future. They are also only offered with the 1.8-liter at this time. The Golf S looks to start out at $19,895 while the Wolfsburg has a starting ticket price of $21,595. Other pricing details for the 2017 model should be released in the coming months, so stay tuned for details on that front. The competition. The Mazda 3 is offered in no less than 4 different trims here in the US. The entry-level sport model comes in at just $20,145, move up to the touring model, and you'll be asked to pay at least $22,245. Those models come equipped with the 2.0-liter, so if you want the 2.5-liter, you'll have to step up to the touring 2.5 at $23,445 or the Grand Touring at $24,945. Moving over to the Focus, the entry-level Focus SE hatch starts out at $17,140. Moving up to the Titanium will set you back at least $21,850. The Focus Street comes in at $23,050, and the range-topping RS commands a staggering $36,775. What others are saying. The Car Connection. Aaron Cole, the managing editor over at The Car Connection, spent some time with one of the early 2017 Golf models and said, "There's a Golf for nearly every taste and need: Golf, Golf GTI, Golf Sport Wagon, and don't forget about the EV e-Golf, which is very balanced and fun to drive." He rated the Golf 1.8 TS manual transmission at 6.7 out of 10, with styling getting 5 out of 10, comfort and quality 7.0 out of 10, features 5.0 out of 10, performance 7.0 out of 10, safety 9.0 out of 10, and fuel economy 7.0 out of 10. Of course, he didn't have his hands on a facelifted model, so it's quite possible that his ratings for fuel economy, styling, and performance may change with the introduction of the facelift. For what it's worth, the Car Connection rated the Chevy Cruze hatchback at 6.6 out of 10, the Ford Focus at 6.3 out of 10, and the Mazda 3 at 8.4 out of 10 overall. Competition. Mazda 3. The Mazda 3 isn't exactly a spring chicken anymore, being introduced back in 2003. Since then it has gone through 2 generational shifts, with 2013 being the most recent. While the current model is rather stylish, aggressive, and has received great reviews from many reputable sources, it's almost time for Mazda to usher in a 4th-gen model. But that won't happen until 2019, so if you were considering going with the Mazda 3 and waiting until the next-gen model comes out, you might want to second-guess that. You'll be waiting at least a couple more years. Currently priced well to compete, you can get your hands on one for as little as $20,145, while going for a model equipped with the 184 horsepower 2.5-liter you'll have to pay at least $23,445. Read more about the Mazda 3 here. Ford Focus hatchback. The Focus has been around since 1998, with the 3rd-generation model being introduced back in 2011. For the 2015 model year, it went through a pretty significant facelift, bring the model up to par with the rest of the market. This generation is expected to carry on for at least another year, with a new gen model likely for 2018. Available with a number of different engines, the Focus is also available as a sedan. The hatchback is obviously the sportier of the bunch, with the Focus RS and its Mustang engine being the range-topping model everyone wants. Pricing ranges anywhere from $17,000 up to as much as $35,000 for the RS. Find out more about the Ford Focus hatchback here. Conclusion. It's nice to see that Volkswagen has finally given the Golf a sportier exterior than before. Its new look and the addition of some new fuel-efficient engines should give it some major selling points. Of course, a next-gen model is practically around the corner, so hopefully the sporty and aggressive nature of this facelifted model will serve as an excellent canvas for change in the next-gen model. Until this model should soldier on rather successfully and as a favorite for those who love hatchbacks. As a model that now has amazing features, think gesture control, and amazing tunability with aftermarket parts and accessories, expect this model to continue in VW's lineup for a long time to come. Sure, the competition is strong in this segment, but the Gold is widely known for reliability, so you really can't go wrong with it. Love it more aggressive than ever new, fuel-efficient engines, updated infotainment systems. Leave it that front fascia really reminds me of Mercedes' design facelift to debut late for the 2017 model year.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.